So in the last session, okay, date is 24th June 2024, time is this. In the last session, we have talked about attribute directives, ng model, ng class, ng style. Now, how to build the custom attribute directives, what are the attribute directives internally, we will see later on. But before that, let's see what do you mean by the structural directives. So when you say structural directives, are the directives applied on the ng template that are conditionally or repeatedly rendered. So when you talk about the structural directives, you need to remember that the structural directives are those who can modify the page structure. Those are those who can modify what? The page structure. That's why they are called as structural directives. Now when you talk about the structural directives, it is nothing but an idea to change the page structure. It is nothing but the idea of changing the page structure. Now, ng class, ng style. Okay. These built-in structural directives. Now, what I wanted to do, let's have this section. And here I can say h1, hello world. And there is a h2, welcome to Angular. Now what I wanted to do over here, I want to show this block, something like this, star ngIf, if some variable star ngIf is equals to one variable is h1.
And should they just change that h2 ending with h2?
Yeah. And this is h2. So now this has been changed in new Angular. We'll see that change also. So we'll see the change. So here you can see star ngIf. If h1 is enabled, this would be shown. If h2 is enabled, this would be shown. So here we can have is h1 is equals to true, is h2 is equals to false. Can you see you are changing the DOM content, localhost 4200. Why? App is not running. Okay. CD desktop, CD web dev Angular, nvm use 18 and npm star. Okay, cd what day 5354, day 5354, npm start. Why? CD template reference also here covered. npm start. Okay, refresh it. So this is h2, this is h2. This section is there. Is h1. What is the is h1? And nothing is happening. For the reason you need to import ngIf. Can you say hello world is only printed? So here we can say h1 hello world. So if this is true, only hello world is getting printed. Now let's make this guy also true. And if you see this thing also getting printed, which means that the structural directives are adding or removing content from the page. Structural directives are adding or removing the content from the page. That is nothing but what? They are modifying the DOM. They're modifying what? DOM internally. And that's why they are also called as structural directives. They're also called as what? Structural directives. So another structural directive, star ngFor. So I have a array, or here we can say names is equals to abc pqr lmn xyz tuv. And I want to show this. I wanted to show this in a loop. How shall I do that? So this is an array and I have unordered list, and I wanted to show these li's in the from the loop. Or instead of ul, we can have a select tag. We can have the select tag, and we need to generate the options from these names. So how do you do that? Option. Here we can say star ngFor is equals to let nm of names, or let name of names value. Here we can say would be the name, and inside this also we can put the name. Correct? Let name of names, something like this. If you go here, okay. Now star ngFor, right?
Name is there, right? Array name.
This is the array name, names.
Names.
But concern over here is that let name of names value name and dollar. So this name is not getting identified. That's the reason. So how to solve this problem? But I have this names array, and from here I want to access the name.
will be generated in a drop down list, combo box.
Yes,
Select.
correct. Combination box should be there.
You can first just print on the screen. Then you will.
And the concern over here is ngFor. Can you see ABC, PQR, and these things are working? Right?
So what you did? What is the syntax? Ng.
Star ngFor, let this variable name
Let
can be.
is a reserve. Right?
Yeah, so this is any variable name, and this can be the variable which holding an array.
So how? I mean, it is everything is in one line.
Everything is in what? One line, correct?
One line. That value. Value is the attribute. And why you type?
Why what?
Name in the quotes.
Because
we're already using string interpolation.
that is okay, but
Yeah.
whenever you say this value, every selected option needs to be identified by unique id. So actually here we need to pass the id. Sometimes what happens, name is different, we need to show something different. Right now remove it, and to the server we need to pass some different id. So here we wanted to show some different name. We are selecting it and clicking the OK. So server will not get this PQR, but server will get what? ID of the actual PQR. So modification or addition can happen accordingly. So at that time, so value would be containing ID, and for the presentation name would be this name. That's why value attribute is there in a HTML5. That is the HTML5 attribute. Right? Select tag HTML5. If you see this HTML5 select tag, so these are the values, these are the actual names to be presented, and this would be sent to the server, value attribute. Correct?
So to compare, for example, like selected value is like that present in the double quotes. We have to use that value for comparison. Means
This
for
value,
example,
this value, this name.
Just go to the web page. In the select, that select syntax is shown. Yeah, here name is equal to, for example, cars.
Correct.
In the double quotes. So sorry, value is equal to double quotes, the value in the double quotes.
Correct.
So suppose I want to check like whatever value I selected from that select list or combo box, I need to check that value present in the combo box.
Correct. This Volvo is there. So yeah, I can write in the name, I can write, say, click here, click this thing. So it will print me click ABC, click, but the click ABC is not the word in the DB.
Correct.
So DB would be having some other ID.
Right.
Or I want to show this in uppercase. To uppercase. And in a DB, all is in the smaller case, lower case. What you will do? Correct. So at that time, whatever value you will get from the REST API, that you will store to the value, actual value. And for the presentation, whatever server is giving you, you can store that thing. Presently, we don't have any difference. If you want to see that thing in action, Let's convert this guy to something like this. Object id colon 1 and title is abc. And let's ask ChatGPT. Convert in this form. Convert in this form. Prompt is wrong. I want, okay. So whenever there is a thing and ttl colon 3 id colon 3 ttl colon this id colon 4 ttl colon this id colon 5 ttl colon tup. So now it is an array of object. So this would be having the obj. It would be containing the obj, and here value would be obj dot id, and here obj dot ttl. It would be like this. Okay. This is why value attribute is there in the HTML. So this is one more directive, star ngFor. Now you
So
can,
for each directive, we need to include that. Where you are including that ngFor in the modules.
import. That is the directive. All the way it would be getting imported over here.
In the TS file itself.
TS file itself. Yeah.
So I just have one query. What we need to include in the app module.ts. I mean, when to import into the app module.ts and when to import into the
No, where you said?
app module.ts.
Where is app module.ts?
Remove it.
No, app module.ts file, Angular have stopped generating that file.
Okay.
Angular have stopped generating the module, that thing, and from that time there is something called as standalone true. We'll talk about this thing later on. This is not related to the directives.
So everything we need to import into the that particular.
Correct. Whatever this, if module, this component is a standalone, whatever it requires that to be imported over here. We'll see this. What are the, your question, ng module is, and what do you mean by this standalone is?
Okay, for example, now suppose I want to use this directive again into another component.
Again, you need to
Not this app component. So again, I have to import.
correct.
That.
Yeah.
So for each component, I need to.
Correct.
And it is coming. And where it is present in the node models folder, all the directives.
All the directives
are present.
See here in Angular common module.
Okay.
Add Angular common module.
Okay. Oops.
Got it?
Yeah.
Now ngFor we have seen. What we have seen? ngFor. So there is one more thing, ngSwitch. There is one more thing called as ngSwitch. It is a switch case. We can write a switch case in Angular. So for that you need to import ngSwitch, ngSwitch case, ngSwitch default, ngSwitch, ngSwitch case.
So whatever the loops and conditional statements we use in regular languages,
Uh-huh.
all these are now, if we want to use in the Angular, we have to use in the form of directive, like if statement, then for statement, for loop,
Correct.
like switch state,
Not
switch case.
everything, only few things are possible.
Okay, while is also there or not?
Loops not there, so loops are in the case of the for,
In the form of
in the
for.
form of for.
So only one directive for loop.
Loops, correct, and that is enough,
Okay.
because it is not expected that you should use a lot of directives in the ng template. Bad practice. Using the ng, using the directives in the HTML, lot of directives in HTML is a bad practice. Your code business logic should be in a component only, right?
Right, right.
But this can be done. There are some cases for the dynamism this is required. So ng switch case, you know what do you mean by switch case, right? Now here we have a day. Here we can have a day 0, right? And here we can say, div ng switch switch is equals to day. So you need to write a property binding ng switch day, and inside that we can have the paragraphs. Inside that we can have the paragraph. So here we can say star ng switch case is equals to star ng switch case is equals to, if it is 0 we can say Sunday, if it is 1 it is Monday, if it is 2 3 Wednesday. Otherwise ng switch default, ng star ng switch default star ng switch default Sunday, Friday, and if you go it's Sunday because we have set the 0. Here we can set 3, it is Wednesday. Let's set 30, Friday, or here we can say no day, 4 Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 4 5 6 7 days are there. So here you can pass the Here you can pass what you can say numbers, and on
Just comment if you are changing the code, just comment
yeah, I'm not changing.
reference. Yeah.
So here we can say 5 Friday, correct? So this is the ngSwitch case, star ngSwitch case. So these many directives are provided by Angular, ngSwitch, structural directives more precisely, star ngIf, then star ngFor, star ngSwitch case. Correct? Now Angular 17. We'll talk about this later on, not now.
What you are selecting?
I wanted to show you. I wanted to show you these new things that has been launched in Angular 17. At for and at if. At for syntax is better alternative. So this is a new thing in Angular 17. So you will use a for something like this in template, and if also in the same fashion. Let's not talk about this right now. We'll do this some other day. Okay, let's stick to the directives, otherwise you will get deviated from the directives, but this is more recommended approach.
So, Aniruddha, now you said module, I mean, module.ts file is not there.
Correct.
So, I mean, there is no module concept in Angular.
There is concept, but modules are handled in some more efficient way. That is nothing but the standalone modules and the feature modules. So feature module is there, but app module concept is not there. That is the older strategy. Angular 17 has stopped using that part. We'll see that whenever we learn the modules, you will get to know.
Okay, that part is
Altogether different.
Okay, you have to come.
Yeah. So if you want to read that part, here is the Stack Overflow link. Why doesn't app module exist in Angular 17? From the Angular 17 and onwards, standalone is now CLI default feature. So when you create the project, this is actually future part. You need to set this flag, ngnew no standalone. So standalone components are the feature introduced in Angular 14. With the change in version 17, Angular team strongly recommends to use them as they are easier to use and understand and they need the less boilerplate code, right? So it is the recommendation from the Angular team not to use the app module, right?
So here boilerplate code means like
This
whenever
code,
you use HTML.
see this code. Unnecessarily, you need to add a lot of things over here in the central level.
Okay, because I see this file in our place.
Correct. So what's the Angular version you guys use?
older one, 13 or 14.
Yeah.
14 or so.
If it is a 14, you can
13,
use
13,
13. Yeah. Then you don't have the standalone feature. But Angular team recommends to use the standalone components for the easiness.
Okay. But in that case, suppose still we are using 13, so will you explain about
Yeah, no, we are going to cover the modules also. That's not a big deal. Fine, let's call it for a day. We'll meet tomorrow.
so what else there? I mean, other than now like directives after.
Now, custom directives. We need to create our own directives like star ngFor. We would be creating our own, and like ng class, we would be creating our own. That part is remaining. So this thing, we are following this flow only, nothing new.
Okay.
After that, we would be starting with the services, then signals. So if you wanna read something ahead of the time, you refer this sequence.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.